Millions of people struggle with sleep. And today you'll discover how to restore sleep even if you work nights. Lucas Vegvary will tell us how to do it, and he's the founder of My Custom Sleep Journey, the only premium coaching program designed specifically for healthcare professionals working night shifts. Now, of course, a lot of these tips that he'll give us will be very useful for stewardesses, for people who work nights, of any kind of field. So, Lucas, tell us more. Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, so my custom sleep journey was built out of necessity. It was actually a process that I was going through for myself. I was working night shifts in the oil refineries, and I worked there for almost 4 years, and I was definitely dragging along with everybody else that was working nights as well. Everybody's up on caffeine. They're having horrible sleep patterns, and I realized I really had to do something about it, and so I had to put a system together that actually made sense to be able to rebalance sleep patterns. And I did around 10 years of life coaching during this time as well. And it gave me the combined skills to be able to clearly put together a program for night shift medical practitioners and realistically anyone who's working night shifts to be able to maximize their sleep patterns.
Thank you. I actually struggle with sleep, and in the last few months, I'm going to bed at 4 in the morning and waking up at 12. And I'm very ashamed to say this is the case, although there's nothing like technically keeping me from having this kind of routine. I don't have to have this kind of routine. Like I'm not necessarily working nights as such. It's just like this really bad routine I got into, and I don't know how to actually shift it. So I'm wondering, what can someone do to restore sleep who perhaps have no choice but to work nights because they are working nights as part of their job and they have no choice? And then tell us, for people that, let's say, have sometimes work nights and sometimes they work days, what can someone like that do to kind of get back into a good routine? Because what I find is that right now, because I've been sleeping really badly for the last few months, I look really horrible. Okay. And I find that when I do have a good sleep routine, I look like 10 years younger. And of course, everyone wants to not only look younger, but feel younger and just overall feel great, because that affects your productivity and your business and your income. Like absolutely everything gets affected by your poor sleep or good sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would say the first part of your question, when we're talking about you specifically and the way that you've developed this pattern, is there's no one silver bullet to any of these things. It's rebalancing your life. And so with our program, we work with what we call the 5 key pillars. We work with nutrition. And that means if you're going to be working night shifts, I'll kind of answer both of the questions at the same time, if that's okay. If you're going to be working night shifts, you probably shouldn't be consuming large meals during that night shift period. And so also, if you want to start getting better sleep for you, as far as nutrition, you would want to consume your meals earlier and not later, because when you consume them later, it's going to kind of keep your sleep patterns not so balanced, and you're going to get poorer sleep scores. We actually track all of our metrics using the Oura Ring in our program. And we found that people who do consume large meals close to sleep time, they really struggle as far as making sure that they get deep rest and they're able to really restore themselves properly. And so I would say then the next part is exercise, making sure that you're not exercising too close to your bedtime, and also making sure that you are getting clean exercise, making sure that you're at least walking, stretching your body. Strength training is excellent if you want to have good posture and be able to just have a good circadian rhythm in general in order to have a strong body. And so it definitely increases concentration levels when you are going to be up, and it's a definitely important part of our program. And then we have caffeine intake and timing. If you're taking in caffeine too close to bedtime, you're going to definitely struggle with sleep. And so everybody has a different biological clock when it interacts with caffeine. And so if you, some people, it's the half-life of caffeine is 4 hours. That means that it's affecting you 4 hours before you actually go to sleep. And some people need to cut it off up to 8 hours before they go to sleep. Otherwise, it'll affect your sleep patterns pretty drastically. And this is like, that's one of the easiest things that you can do, is to cut back on the caffeine a little bit when you're heading towards that sleep period. And then we have mindset and hypnosis is what we use for our program. And so that means taking care of your mind, making sure that you are taking that relaxation time in a constructive way. Meditation and hypnosis, if you're trying to change patterns, can be absolutely profound for making change. And yeah, that's a basic overview of our protocol. Yeah.
Can I ask you, do you recommend a drastic thing? Like, for example, I don't normally drink alcohol unless I'm going to a wedding. But do you recommend, for example, to break the pattern of sleeping late? Do you recommend, let's say, drinking some wine or something to kind of get you to sleep for like one night early? So you go to sleep at 12, and then the next day you wake up hopefully by 8, and then kind of like next day you have like a good routine. Or is there something else to kind of get you to sleep? Because let's say today I woke up at 12. Like, of course, I'm not going to be tired until like 4 in the morning. And then I have this bad sleep routine. Like, tell us, how does someone like me who has a bad sleep routine would kind of like break that with like a drastic measure? Is someone like me able to do it with a drastic measure like this? Or do you recommend just like not sleeping for an entire night and then have that be like a drastic measure, so that you kind of force your body into like being tired for a full day, and then that way you go to bed at a normal time the next day? What would you do to kind of like break that routine?
Well, that's actually what I would do when I was switching from night shifts to day shifts, as I would stay up for 24 hours straight, and then you can be able to get that clean amount of rest that you need. But you do develop a little bit of sleep debt through that, because it's 8 hours past the time that you would normally sleep, which can definitely hurt you a little bit. I would walk yourself back away from that time that you're at right now when you're going to sleep. So if you can cut it back by an hour every, say, 2 or 3 days, and slowly wean yourself back to a normal schedule, to where your circadian rhythm is starting to catch up with where you're at right now, because you're throwing your circadian clock off by sleeping so late into the morning time, the early morning. And it's definitely better if you do have the option to be on a day shift and to be able to do your work during the days. You're going to be a lot more productive. Your memory is better. It's a lot less of a fiasco. There are techniques that can be used for night shift to maximize your impact if you're going to do that. But it's definitely better if you can maintain like a solid day shift schedule.
Thank you. Now, tell us, for people that have no option but to have an occasional night shift. So, for example, this podcast, like right now, it's like 10 p.m., right? But I recently changed the settings so that I would stay up until like 6 in the morning, just because most of the people that I interview are actually US based. And because of the time difference, it's like 8 hours away. And, if I stay up until 6 a.m., then, people from Texas and so on, perhaps for them, it will be like 8 or 10 p.m. That, they can do the interval. So you can say that's a choice that I'm making, to perhaps not sleep one night, or to go to bed like at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday, let's say. And for people like me that, let's say, have no choice but to work 2 or 3 nights per week, a night shift, and the rest of the day, the rest of the week to work like a normal shift. Tell us what recommendations you have in terms of like drastic ways to have a good routine, relatively good routine. Because of course, the nights that you've gone to bed at 6 a.m., you're not going to be like your most productive self. But if you have no choice, you have no choice. So how would someone deal with that? Because like I saw someone, I think it was a model, and she was saying like the best way to deal with jet lag, especially for someone who is a frequent traveler, is to just pretend that you're actually in the time zone that you are and forget about your tiredness. So for example, let's say you land at 7 in the morning, you don't sleep until 11 p.m. And that's like a very drastic way to get yourself adjusted. Is that something you recommend as well for frequent travelers or people who have no choice but to work 2 to 3 nights per week night time?
So that's a loaded question right there. There's a lot of intricacies that go into that, and it's lifestyle design that we're talking about here. And so, if, like I said, if you can stick your meals to daylight hours, you have two different clocks. You have your sleeping clock, and then you have your day clock. And so, you're actually a good portion of your circadian rhythm will stay in the daytime. As far as eating, when you're eating during that time, you'll have more energy during your night shifts, and it'll be easier to switch back to your days when you do need to be awake during the days. So that's one of the key things. I would say also, have you ever heard of yoga nidra, the practice?
Perhaps, but no, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, so it's a body scan technique. It's thousands of years old, and there's actually starting to be quite a bit of research around it right now. And they're finding that like a 20-minute session can equate to around 2 to 3 hours of actual rest time. And so it's a body scan technique. You're basically going through your system and you're saying right hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, and you're sensing these body parts. And what it's doing is it's calming the mind down, and you're able to actually get a very deep restorative amount of rest when you do this. And this is one of the key highlights to our program is we've actually put together a specific recording just for the night shift practitioners for when they go on their shift, because normally they have a break room or a nap room that people can go into, and so they can pop their headphones in and be able to get a significant amount of rest in a short period of time. And it's kind of like a cheat code for night shift practitioners. And this can be a nice way to be able to reboot yourself. It increases memory capacity, it increases reaction time, and this overall balance in the system. And so making sure that you're eating a healthy diet too is really important. If you can eat whole foods and avoid the processed foods, you're going to have a lot easier of a time switching over from time period to time period. So those would be like the key cheat codes that I could offer.
Thank you. What about tiredness? What can someone do to, I don't know if necessarily restore sleep, but let's say someone is working 2 to 3 nights per week and they are feeling incredibly tired. If they are sticking to the method of, let's say they came home at 6 a.m., they could have two options, right? They could do their normal 8 hour sleep and sleep until like 2 p.m. And then like their entire day is almost like gone. They'll do next to nothing. And then let's say if the next day they have to also work nights, it comes up to like 8 p.m. or something, and they have to go to work again. It just feels like they've done absolutely nothing, and they'll be ultra frustrated and also tired. Is there anything that night shifters can put in place so they can reduce the tiredness despite the fact that they've had little sleep?
Yeah. Okay, so this is what we're talking about here is with this lifestyle design is it's teaching your system how to have natural energy as much as possible. And if you continue to use stimulants, like large amounts of stimulants to be able to keep yourself up, you're going to rely on them forever, and it's going to wear your system down a lot faster. So it's okay to use them strategically and in intelligent times and intelligent amounts. And to not only just use like caffeine as your main backbone, but also there's adaptogens that are out there that you can take, like Siberian ginseng, and there's a couple of different kinds of ginseng that you can take. You can take matcha green tea and coffee, of course. And so this using them in a balanced way where you're not over relying on any specific one, but fluctuating them and finding out what works best for your system. Everybody's system's a little bit different, the way that they interact with chemicals, and you will crash eventually if you continue to just rely on that exclusively, like the coffee. And I totally understand because I've done it myself.
Thank you. Are there any other, you can say, hacks for getting your body to restore aside from everything you talked about? And the reason I ask you this is because I find that when I'm incredibly tired and I have to fly or I have to organize an event, a lot of times I have to maybe like wake up at 5 or wake up at 6 and I've already gone to bed at 2 and
Mhm.
I've had hardly any sleep. And then I have to be there until at least 3 in the morning the following day because I have to organize everything and wrap up the whole event at 11. And then people like to stick around until 3 in the morning. And then I have to come home with a gazillion things. Like I look like I have a circus, like a gazillion bags. And maybe I'm actually home at 5 a.m. after I've unloaded all the different things. So I've had like hardly any sleep. So how does someone deal with that?
Mhm. You're pushing yourself really hard, aren't you, Lily?
Well, occasionally, yes.
That's okay. It's totally cool, and I understand that. So, um, do you exercise much? Do you go to the gym? Okay.
I don't go to
Um,
the gym. No, what I
oh,
do
that's
is
okay.
to walk. I'm a big
Uh-huh.
walker, and I like to swim, and I like to
Mm-hmm.
dance. And
Mm-hmm.
what I was getting at with this question was this, that I find that, let's say if I've had like a big event or I'm about to fly, whatever, the thing that helps me a lot is, let's say having like putting ice on my face. And the
Mm-hmm.
other thing that helps me a lot is actually joy. So for example, let's say if I'm going dancing, I don't know, I seem to have like this unlimited energy for dancing
Mm-hmm.
that, and I find that even if I'm super tired, if I'm dancing, it's like, I'm not tired. Like I can be there until like 8 in the morning. And
Mm-hmm.
is there any like hack like this that gets people
Mm-hmm.
into like this high vibration state that enables them to restore themselves and restore their sleep or their state, even if they haven't been sleeping much?
Yeah, actually, so that's very helpful to know what you're already doing, so that I can kind of customize it to what you're doing. And also, this is really good general advice for individuals who are having these erratic sleep patterns, and they do need that boost. So obviously, you are already interacting with cold, and so if you're able to take a cold shower and take deep breaths while you're doing it. A lot of people, they clench up when they're doing cold showers and they take shallow, short breaths. But making sure that you're taking in big, deep breaths and that you're adjusting to it, and you try to find like a little sense of peace there, so that you're not panicking, because that's where a lot of people, they really despise it because they never find that peaceful state, and it'll give you a lot of clarity, like a huge sense of clarity going through that. So that's one option that you can do. You can also do what's called HIIT training. And so, similar to the yoga nidra, it can definitely increase your ability to be able to increase your memory and increase your overall energy levels for that day if you're short on sleep during that day. Are you familiar with HIIT training?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so HIIT training it stands for high intensity interval training, and so that means that you're doing something that would take you up to about 70 or 80% of your capacity as far as cardio exercises, and then you would walk for a minute or two, and then you would repeat that 2 or 3 times. And it's a pretty intense exercise, but it improves blood circulation drastically and increases the way that your brain functions during these experiences. And so it can be an enormous benefit for that. Um, Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to make up sleep debt, but so it takes kind of extreme measures to be able to be your best when you're really struggling. And so, Wim Hof breathing is another practice that I do regularly if I'm a little short on sleep. And so you can look it up online. They have a bunch of YouTube videos on it, and it takes about maybe 10 minutes to do 3 rounds. And so you take in about 20 or 30 really deep breaths, and then you take in a deep breath on the last one, and then you breathe it all out, and you hold it out for a period of time. And what this does is it saturates your blood oxygen levels, and it helps it get to your brain, and it kind of snaps you out of that really tired, glazed over state, and brings you back to balance. So those are a couple of my favorite techniques that I use and share.
Is there any way to reduce oversleeping? Because I find that when I'm going to bed like really late, I find that I'm oversleeping as well. Like if, for example, if you allowed me to sleep an extra hour, let's say, or half an hour, to have like a mini nap, I probably would. And I think I'm oversleeping. So is there anything to kind of snap me out of this like oversleeping pattern when I'm kind of like going to bed really late?
Hmm. So, are you wearing blue light glasses by
No.
chance? No? Okay. Are you familiar with blue light glasses?
Yes, I'm familiar, but no, I haven't used them.
Okay. So, what's happening is when you're staring at screens before you go to sleep, as well as fluorescent lights, which everybody has in their house these days, it's triggering a mechanism in the brain to say it's daytime and it's time to be awake and to do things. And so, by wearing the blue light glasses, it blocks out the blue spectrum of light and it gives your brain the ability to calm down as you start to head towards that sleep pattern time. And so, it makes it so that you get higher quality sleep so that you don't need as much sleep on the back end. And so, it improves restoration, it improves the amount of sleep that you actually need, and it will definitely improve this overall sleep scores in general. And exposing yourself to light in the morning when you get up, getting some natural sunlight on your body, and this exposing your eyes to it as well without sunglasses on. This gives you the ability to be able to tell your brain it's daytime, it's time to get up, and it feels natural because that's what our ancestors did for a long time. Screens are a new phenomenon to our genetics, and so yeah, we're trying to catch up with what's been put together.
Thank you. So tell us more about, is it called REM sleep, like a deeper sleep? How does someone get there and how does someone stay there for longer so that the sleep that you do have becomes more restorative and deeper and you're not sleeping, I don't know if you to call it in a shallow way, in a way that you don't actually rest when you're sleeping?
So, sleep is one of the most complex items on the list as far as different topics that humans have studied, and we don't even fully understand it completely. Nobody understands it completely. So, you have REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, which is a lot of the time when you're dreaming. You have deep sleep, which is extremely restorative to your mind and body. You have light sleep. And those are the main sleeps that people need to be like aware of. And the point is that you do need a balance of all of them in order to be healthy and to be able to function correctly. And so, how you can get more of like a better balance throughout all of those is making sure that you have a dark, well ventilated place that you're sleeping. So when you breathe out, you're exhaling CO2, and so it accumulates in the room, and it can kind of tack out the room in a sense, and make it so that you don't have enough oxygen, not as much as would be optimal for your system. And so if you can crack your window, that's excellent. If you can sleep in absolute darkness, that's the best case scenario as well, because your brain's going to produce more melatonin while you're sleeping, and it's going to be more restorative. Making sure that you're not eating close to sleep again would be excellent. I actually wait around, I give myself about a 6 or 7 hour window from the time that I'm actually getting ready to go to sleep until I do sleep. And by doing this, if I am hungry, I'll take some essential amino acids. And that helps. It's like protein chains, and it helps to just kind of satiate you, and it also helps with sleep as well. And yeah, this makes it so you're not bloated while you're sleeping, and so that you're able to give your full energy to the sleep patterns, because it's just like when how they say don't eat and then go swimming. It's a very complex thing to digest food. And if you're trying to digest food and do a complex thing like sleep at the same time, it's definitely not going to be in balance. So, yeah, in the same way, it's important to balance.
Thank you. So are you saying, for example, it's bad to, let's say, go and have a massive breakfast, like a buffet breakfast, and then to have a lie-in for 15 to 30 minutes because that doesn't help you digest, and then it ruins your sleep pattern for later as well.
Yeah, it's better to go on a little walk, and if you do need a little bit of rest, it's probably because you're eating too much when you're hitting that big breakfast. And so trying to balance out the size of your meals as well can be incredibly beneficial for everyone. If we're overeating, that's a lot of the reason why we're tired, why we have indigestion, why we have all of these digestive issues. Yeah, if you can start to eat more balanced sized meals, you're going to have a lot less problems overall.
Thank you. Are there any specific tools like red light therapy or like specific light to kind of help you wake up in the morning so you're not oversleeping, or any other tools that can help you to restore your body so that you are sleeping the best possible? For example, like hyperbaric oxygen therapy or any other like tools or therapies that can help you to generally have a great sleep.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of tools out there. The ones that you mentioned are excellent. The thing is that there's so much more low-hanging fruit that you can do that'll have a lot more benefit on it. If you balance out your meals and your meal timing and you're exercising and you're doing all of these other natural lifestyle changes, you're going to have a profound difference in the way that you sleep and the way that your energy. And if you want to be elite, that's what you need to be able to do, is to rebalance your lifestyle. And a lot of the time, so here's the thing, is if you don't have somebody coaching you, a lot of the time it's very difficult to do some of these practices. We're actually putting together a free school community for night shift practitioners, and we're going to give out basically everything that we have in our high ticket price program. And the thing is it's difficult to do it without somebody who's going to walk you through the process, and who's going to keep everything responsible on both ends. You know, we have our responsibilities to take care of you, and the same thing back and forth. And so just making sure that you're maintaining just normal balances in the system as much as possible is going to make such a profound difference in your overall lifestyle and the way that you function.
Thank you. Tell us 3 case studies of entrepreneurs you've worked with who have managed to restore sleep as a night shift worker.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to give you like a brief overview of what we typically experience with most of these individuals. So when we're working with night shift practitioners, most of the time they have a poor family life because they're not able to concentrate or focus or give that emotional support to their kids or family. They're making small mistakes at work, which they're very nervous could turn into big malpractice types of mistakes. And they're confused. There's a lot of confusion as far as what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to function in the world to have like good, healthy practices, because we are overloaded to the point of breaking with information. There's so much information out there. And so giving a clear-cut routine of areas that are easy for people to implement these practices in a way that's straightforward, it can make such a profound difference on the way that people actually function. And using the Oura Ring the way that we do, it helps us to be able to put tangible results on what we're talking about specifically. And so a lot of our night shift practitioners, they're actually starting out with like a sleep score from 1 to 100 around a 50 or a 55. And normally we can get them up to like a 75, 80, even 85 sleep score, which is extremely good even for somebody who's working day shift. And so that's how we actually are able to calibrate how good we're doing with our clients, is actually showing these sleep scores. Because if you're sleeping better, you're going to have better experience during the day. You're going to be able to have more time for your family and be able to give that emotional attention that you need, which everybody's really craving. Even the people at your work and the people around us, we crave human interaction, this real, authentic, non-robotic type of interaction. And so, allowing our true self to be able to come out and interact is a beautiful thing.
Thank you. And what results would you say have already been obtained through working with you in terms of restoring sleep, and in terms of just getting a better sleep score? But I'm talking like, did they get more focus at work? Did they feel better, or those kind of what outcomes have been achieved already?
So I would say definitely having a better relationship with their families is one of the biggest outcomes. Also, having a stronger body exercising and being able to have more self-confidence that comes from that, people actually noticing these changes happening in people. I would say people understanding without the confusion what they're specifically supposed to do. I'd say that's probably one of the biggest outcomes that can make a big difference, because people are so confused, like I said, about all of the different areas that they're supposed to be performing. And this knowing what you're supposed to eat, knowing how you're supposed to exercise, and having a clear-cut plan in front of you.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can connect with us on our website at mycustomsleepjourney.com, or we're on LinkedIn as well. It's My Custom Sleep Journey. And we would definitely love to hear from people. And we offer private coaching for not only medical practitioners, but also individuals who are this high calibrating entrepreneurs who are trying to be their best. And so, we'd love to help people sleep better and have more energy during the day.
Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health changemakers to live your healthiest life ever.